seduction, sex, lifestyle. For the true player at heart, Global SLR presents the real kings of pickup. Vince Hollywood Kelvin and Arash motherfucking Dibazar. Be the best and fuck the rest.
And today I'm a little bit anxious because we're about to talk about approach anxiety. Now, here's the thing with approach anxiety. It is both very real when a person is caught in the frame of approach anxiety and experiencing the feelings that result from a certain way of thinking, but in a higher frame of reality, it is absolutely false. So that answers the question. Oftentimes people hear it's all in your head. It is real when it's in your head, and it's also true that it's in your head. But today, guys, we're going to help you to take it from anxiety and turn that into action. So, here with me, the king of seduction, the man I turn to for advice on my side, Arash motherfucking Dibazar. So, Arash, what's your take on that concept of approach anxiety?
What's up, Vince? I love that we're doing this. So many people have been messaging me saying how incredible the Monday call has been. And my idea of approach anxiety, I have some anxiety talking about it right now. As we approach the subject and we get closer to it, I start to feel an anxiety about it, not knowing what I'm going to say or do, and possibly people are going to reject my ideas. And if they do, they might go tell other people. And then I might just start to talk to myself instead of talk to them, which will result in me getting more anxiety. And after a while, what's happening is I'm stuck in my head. Instead of doing this podcast, I'm just so worried about doing the right thing that all interaction with the outside world stops, and I start to cave in inside of myself. And so that's how I feel about approach anxiety. I feel it approaching as I talk about it more and more, and I get more and more anxiety. That's what approach anxiety is. It's an illusion inside your head. It's as real as any other illusion, and I'm very excited to talk about it and kill it. I mean, what I'm going to bring to you guys, I tell you, whatever. I'm ready to go, Vince. Let's do this.
Let's do it, and we're going to approaching in a brand new way. So the first thing that comes to mind on my side before I pass it back to you, Arash, is the realization that it's not sufficient to feel anxious, not to act. Many think that the problem is approach anxiety, and we need to also realize that it's not a thing. It's not like, oh, you should have gone to this strange country where, unfortunately, you caught approach anxiety, and now you fucked for the rest of your life because there is no cure for this terrible disease. Exactly. It's not something that you get or that you have. It's the result of a certain way of processing what's happening. And it's important to also learn how to gauge the level of anxiety, because it's not like an object. Objects around us, if we need to carry a table, we're quickly going to assess, okay, how heavy is that table and how big is it? So we'll know pretty much how to best handle carrying the table. But because it's an emotion, a feeling, it's not easy to assess how mild, medium, or severe it is. And psychologists seem to agree, that explains also post-traumatic stress, that oftentimes, because we're unable to gauge it, unconsciously we right away go to assessing it as being the worst. So in a moment, after I pass it back to Arash, I'm going to help you guys to scale it, not stale. We don't want you to stale, but to scale it back down to what it really is, so you'll be able to know that you can feel a little bit anxious and still act, because the problem is everybody has become a comfort junkie in this day and age, where they only want to do what's comfortable. And 2,000 years ago, before battle, before going hunting, I'm sure people felt even stronger feelings of anxiety, but they didn't even have the time nor the choice to be able to bitch about it. So that's what's coming to mind so far. I love those calls with you, Arash, because you barely start talking and it inspires me. So I'll pass it back to you. What else can the guys understand about approach anxiety?
Okay, so now let's get a little bit deeper into this thing, everybody. Approach anxiety. Well, currently where I'm at in my life, it's fascinating. I only dreamt of being at this point when I was younger. Somehow there was, I guess there was a voice inside of me, you could say, that knew I would be here one day. And when I say here, I don't mean on this phone call. What I mean was I would have the ability that when life would give me some kind of negative situation, negative in quotes, I would not only be okay with it, but I would become stronger with it. Let me give you an example. I've had a toothache for 2 days. This is the first time I'm talking about it. No one in my family knows. My girlfriends don't know. But it's been a pretty severe toothache. You might ask, why don't I go to the dentist? Well, I don't want to yet. But when I do, I do. But there's a point. Today, as the toothache comes and goes, it's come about maybe 4 times so far today, pretty severe. And it's going to sound crazy, but it's not. I really like the sensation. I just stopped seeing it as a negative sensation. And I thought, God, this is kind of fun. This is kind of intense, and really it feels good. Now, that might be kind of a stretch for you guys right now. But like I said, I knew when I was younger I would be feeling this. So I've had this toothache for a couple of days. Yesterday it started. It was the day before, at nighttime. Yesterday it was on and off. Today it's been more on. And right now I don't have it at the moment. But when it comes back, I'm ready. I'm excited. The sensation is going to go through my teeth. It's going to go through the right side of my brain. It's going to hurt a little bit. And every moment that it does that, I realize that it's not necessarily bad. It's kind of enjoyable because it's quite a sensation. It's not going to kill me. I'm not going to fucking, my head's not going to spin the other way. It's just some sensation. It's there. And I don't need to take any medication. I can. But I'd rather feel it out and enjoy it. Why? Because it makes me stronger. Because I flinch less. Because even though I've been dealing with toothache for 2 days, it's helped me to deal with other situations with my girlfriends, with going to the gym, and anything else. Because it's an internal process that I'm going through to be able to take whatever life gives me and re-understand it, okay? Re-understand it. So as of now, you've been understanding approach anxiety as this negative thing that happens in the field. I have a new challenge for you guys. Listen carefully, because I'm going to change your life. If you listen to my words and let these words go with you, you will change your life. So listen well. The next time approach anxiety enters in your life, or whatever that sensation is that you label approach anxiety, which is the proper way to say it, because I bet you 2 people might not even feel the same thing. Chances are pretty high we're not. Different intensities, different levels. But whatever that is, when you're about to approach, that feeling comes, you say, oh, approach anxiety. The next time it comes, I challenge you. Instead of trying to get rid of it, pay close attention to the circuitry in your body, where you feel it, in your mind, what ideas come up, and just sit there. Don't approach, just sit there, pay attention to it, and start to enjoy it. Now, you might wonder if it's possible. It is possible. You can enjoy it. See it as a sensation. See it as a opportunity for you to feel something that you would never feel unless you approach a woman. Know that it's not going to kill you, right? That's important. It's not going to kill you. You're going to feel something that's going to go away. In fact, when you leave her presence, it won't be there. So while you're there and your system gets triggered with these sensations that are only available if you approach a woman. It's not even available to people that don't approach women. You know that? That's pretty crazy. So if you don't approach a woman, you don't understand what that feeling is. And you're missing out on life. You're missing out on this incredible opportunity to see what your system can actually do. And when you feel the sensations that you label approach anxiety, be there with it. Ask yourself this question: how can I understand this differently? And if I was never told that it was approach anxiety, what if I was told by a guru, a high-level guru, one you admire and respect, not one you just watch their fucking free shit on YouTube? That's not your guru. That's not your mentor. That's your that's the person you use. If that person knew that you were doing that, they wouldn't want to teach you. You understand that? I'm talking about the person you spend money on so that they can continue teaching, so that they don't have to go get a fucking 9-to-5 hamburger job. That's the guru. Okay? So what if a guru like this came across to you when you felt that, and you're like, oh my God, I feel it. And say, oh, great. And you're like, what do you mean? It feels so bad. I said, no, listen carefully. You have now triggered your system to heightened alertness, to energy, to these incredible sensations that are going through your body, and now you're prepared. Get this. You are now prepared to approach her. And you're like, what do you mean? So it's not approach anxiety. It's approach preparedness. See? You just felt your system get
I like
prepared.
that.
You like that? You just felt your system get prepared to approach. And that's what everybody feels on the planet when they approach. So you just got prepared, like you're about to jump out of the airplane. Your system got prepared to jump out of the airplane. You're going to have feeling. You're about to approach a woman. You just got approach preparedness. So now what do you do with it? Now you're prepared. Do you approach, or do you waste this preparedness and walk away? Because every time you're about to approach, your system will prepare to approach her, and it'll feel like this. And you need to keep approaching so that this feeling doesn't freak you out, so you can jump out of an airplane if you had to. And it's the same thing. I'll stop right here. So I don't
Wow. Arash, you made so many phenomenal points. Approach preparedness, that is such a good way to frame it, because I think that one thing that fucks over a lot of guys is the non-realization that it's going to pass. And that makes any feelings even more intense if we start to get afraid that it's always going to be like that. It's not easy when we're in an experience to remember that something else sooner or later is coming. So you got to watch out, guys. One simple thing is to remind yourself it's going to pass. And also, I love what you said, because we all feel it. I'm not always comfortable talking to women, and I like to feel anxious, because if I don't feel it, that means I'm probably slacking off and choosing the easy route of going with the girls I always been able to get with. So I like to raise the bar, and automatically it makes you slightly more anxious. So you want to embrace it, welcome it. And I love what you said. It's not going to kill you. So I bring it back to that scaling. Psychologists recommend whenever you feel any form of anxiety, what is labeled anxiety, because if we didn't have a name for it, it just would be a process. And you ask yourself, where is it on the scale? And the top of the scale is, it's a death threat, or even beyond that. Death is inevitable. It's going to lead to death. So it's certainly not the case. I mean, talk to a woman once and check yourself. Am I still here? Am I still alive? Maybe call a buddy and say, hey, can you hear my voice? Or can you see me right now? Or I'm a ghost. So it's certainly not that one. Just below, it's the possibility of death. But you got to do your best to escape it. Right below, on the psychological scale of the intensity of what the message is, what it could be, it's really inconvenient. Everybody would agree it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Give it some time. You'll be able to eventually come up with a solution. It will change, not immediately, but, and it is unfortunate. Below that is, it's unpleasant, but it's not such a big deal. Below that is, hey, relax, something can be done about it. There's always something you can do. Below that is, whoa, you're dramatizing. Sure, it's not the most pleasant feeling, but come on. I mean, you contrast it with something that will be a lot worse, and you realize, hey, it's not that bad. And below that is, wow, you're being a total drama queen right there, okay? You're just feeling a little feeling, and you're turning it into a big story. And eventually, below that is, you know what, it's not the case. You're hallucinating. You're making this up, because you also have to realize that because it's not necessarily an easy thing to do, to talk with people, because you don't know what they're going to say. You never know. There's no guarantee. It could go in a variety of directions. So it's easy to want to avoid. I don't know if it's so much anxiety that's at the core, or if it's the desire to avoid that then uses the fact that it's so uncomfortable to not have to do it. So ask yourself where on the scale it is, and genuinely, I think it is something that is not really pleasant, but you can do something about it immediately. And for that, I give you a classic that's helped me a lot throughout the years. Those who've been studying with me for some time, I'm sure you've heard about it, but the question is, are you using it? It will correct many things in one move, and it's simply to acknowledge that it's not comfortable in a more positive way. So you wouldn't say, even though I feel really anxious, you would say, even though I'm not feeling really comfortable, even though I'm not feeling super comfortable, I can still, and then make a list of the little steps you could take. And your mind will try to fuck with you, say, yeah, but it's not a perfect pickup. That's all right, one step at a time. So maybe part of your list could be, I can at least change my breathing. And on any given day, you remove the idea of having to talk to a woman, you'll breathe more naturally, and you will change your breathing in a heartbeat. I could at least walk around a bit more powerfully. In a nightclub, I could at least stand more comfortably in a better place. Well, maybe then I could at least think in my head what I could say. I could at least pass a little bit closer. I could at least make a little comment. And the scale is wide, because maybe if one night you're really struggling, you could say, I could at least endure a little longer. Not too long ago at a boot camp, a couple of guys, it was not an easy night for most of the guys, I could say. And then I gave them the option to end the night at about midnight, but at the same time, I entered the nightclub and I said, hey, but if you guys want to stay for just 5 minutes, that's okay. Now, everybody thought, oh, 5 minutes? Okay, we can do that. I tell you what, after that, they wouldn't leave. So you got to work with yourself. Hey, we'll be right back after a short message, and we're going to take a question from a caller at that point. And then for the last segment, both Arash and I, after that, are going to give you one powerful skill and tool and concept after the other. Meanwhile, we'll be back after these messages.
Wait no longer, search no further. You are about to progress faster than ever with the most innovative, multi-dimensional mega event of a lifetime. The Global Seduction, Lifestyle, and Relationships Convention in Hollywood, September 23rd, 24th, 25th, 2016. So much more than a summit, featuring only the best of the best true pillars of the pickup community. Vince Kelvin, Arash Dibazar, Bad Boy, Hypnotica, Adam Lyons, David Wygant, Akito Mosley, John Keegan, and James Marshall. No conference can even compare. Nothing ever like it. Lectures, workshops, parties, club access, boot camps, VIP dinner, party bus, and lifestyle exhibit. But hurry, price goes up as event gets closer. So get your ticket today at www.globalslr.com or call 323-309-3219. That's www.globalslr.com or call 323-309-3219.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Real Kings of Pickup podcast. I'm Vince Hollywood Kelvin, and with me, my spiritual brother, a man like no other, be the best and fuck the rest, Arash motherfucking Dibazar. And we have with us on the line a mutual client that's been making a lot of progress, and we like to invite, when we do those privately recorded podcasts, a couple students and clients that are kicking ass or that are asking very genuinely and ready to do their part. So, by the way, if you want to be on a future episode, you just need to message us on Facebook, contact us. You'll get the info at the end of the show, and you may be invited to join us for the call. With us today, all the way from Florida, he's quite a yogi in the field of yoga, and he has been studying with Arash and myself, and we had an interesting conversation yesterday in which he told me, Chris, you kind of put into practice that idea of breaking it down and some of the concepts Arash and I have shared so far. If I understand well, you were at a mall or somewhere and you were not too comfortable at first, but you didn't let that stop you. So, Chris, welcome to the call.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell me the little story that you told me about how initially, despite the fact that you have quite a bit of experience, which is reassuring, that means that anxiety is normal. We all feel it, but we respond to it differently. So, Chris, what was it that you did that helped you out?
Absolutely. I mean, it was I was on campus, actually. I was working on my dissertation, so just staring at a computer for several hours, and when it was time to go, I had to approach some sets. It's just part of my business, part of my daily ritual. And God, I hadn't felt so anxious, so not comfortable, as you were saying, in a long time. And it really, I was giving myself excuses. I was going to bicycle home. So many opportunities came, and I avoided them. And a quote that I hear from Beyond the Game a lot, which was Aikido's book of Arash's teaching of you got to be okay with yourself when you put your head down to rest at night. And it kept hitting me. I know that there were times when I lay down at night and I wasn't okay with the missed opportunities. And so I stuck it out. I almost went home and turned around and went back. I basically was doing laps around campus, and I was just so nervous. I wasn't going to let myself go without approaching and opening 5 steps. And so then from some teaching that I got from you, Vince, I started breaking it down to smaller and smaller steps. You see a girl, just walk a little faster towards her. See a girl and maybe just say a little comment. Don't even look and see if she responds. And it took longer than I would have liked, but I did eventually open 6 steps. And what I mentioned to you yesterday was that not much came of it. And that's, I guess, something that I would look to reframe, because something did come of it. I ended up going out last night, and I was so much more social. I was basically warmed up, and had a lot of fun last night. So
wow, we're going to pass it to Arash in just a moment. And yet, Chris, I love the fact that you have an awareness now, that you're not stuck, you're not bound. I also think a crucial element is to resolve, to realize there's going to be a price to pay no matter what. And the greater price that you don't want to pay is to have to deal with the fact that you're not doing anything. So you recommitted, and then I also love the fact that you were able to recognize that even though nothing happened from the 6 interactions you had immediately, something happened that night. And if you had gone without those 6 interactions, I doubt the thing would have happened at night. So, wow, there's a lot of value in dissecting what allowed you to do that. And now let's make sure that you go even beyond on my side, and maybe you have a question for Arash, but I simply want to tell you guys that you got to realize that at first it's going to seem impossible to talk. And then you're going to realize it's not such a big deal and you be talking. And then it's going to seem impossible to number close. And then you're going to realize it's not such a big deal to number close. And it's going to go on and on with each new level that you reach. So a smart thing to do is whatever allowed you to go from nothing to a little something, continue to use that to go from something to more and more and more. So, Chris, would you have a question for Arash?
Yeah, something that ends up happening, after a little success of the night and today, I end up being around people that, I almost feel like the need or the compulsion to, talk to them. And I don't know, it's sometimes, how do you turn it off? Or how does it become not like a compulsive thing where it's like, oh, I have to open. I'm around people. I have to open.
Yeah, it's just like any other compulsion. Sometimes you want to eat a donut and you don't. Now, you're a yogi, so let's say somebody is in a pose and you want them to stay in there another 30 seconds and they feel the compulsion to come out of it. Well, you know for sure they can hold another 30 seconds. You know, I know, they don't know. Now, if they decide that they give up, at that moment they can't do it. That's where you come in. You say, hold on, you can breathe, hang in there, whatever, however you can motivate them. If they do it, then they're surprised, and that gives them confidence. So I would say it's the same exact thing for me. I've been there, the compulsion, and talked to every goddamn woman, and I still have compulsion. You know, sometimes, hey, for example, is actually today. I'm like, I want to be with a woman. So I've texted like 6 women right now, you know, last minute. And it's just not happening right now, you know. Oh, I'm here, I'm there, whatever, I don't care. And then in the back of my mind, I think, this is healthy for me, you know, this is good. So it's not happening, great. It's allowing me to practice a few things, my response to them, because I'm now at a different stage in my life, so I have to reestablish my relationship with women that I know, because otherwise they're going to always treat me the way they used to treat me, and I'm not that anymore, so they need to see it. So this is a great opportunity when they reject my, and just to be clear for everybody who's listening, I right now purposefully used the word reject when I said that. I could have used another word. My mind moved so fast, I went through 3 words, and I said, no, use reject, because I know that, oh, well, Arash got rejected? Sure, why not? I told them to come, and one had to work, another one said a friend, another one is out with her friends, another one didn't answer, another one's at work. Wow, they all rejected me. 4 rejections. Holy shit, I wonder if I can live with myself anymore. At the same time, I could have used another word, another look. I could have said all 4 had prior engagements, and they were excited to see me another time. Now I sound cooler. I sound better, and both realities are true. It depends which one I focus on, and I focus on neither. Let me tell you which one I focus on. I focus on my internal process. I could give a shit whether they rejected me or not. I could give a shit if they're excited to see me or not. I'm excited at my own response to their rejection, and that allows me to test where I'm at. So any compulsion is the same thing. You use another compulsion in life that you've handled, and you check to see how you handle that, and then you just bring it in. I think NLP maybe, Vince, doesn't NLP have some kind of pattern like this where you use something that you know and you bring it into something you don't know? I'm not 100% familiar, but it sounds like NLP would. I don't know if Vince is there. Vince, you there?
Yes, I am there,
okay.
And I was still processing what you were saying, so.
Yeah, but
yeah, they are NLP distinctions that would address that.
Yeah, like for example, if you like a certain type of food, you process it a certain way in your system, right? You think of the image when on plate, you tell yourself, can't wait to taste that, damn it, I can't wait, right? And then if you don't like a certain food, you process it another way in your system, and you're like, oh God, not that, right? So you could switch.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's called the switch pattern, or what is something like that.
It's switching the modalities. It's discovering the modality, the distinctions, and then switching them.
Yeah, but
which, however, by the way, you just gave me an idea. Later on, I'm gonna give a simplified version of that concept, a super simple exercise. That's a true revolution. But I'll let you continue. Forgive me.
Awesome. I wanted to say something when you were describing approaching those sets and nothing happened, and then you corrected yourself. You said something happened. I had a good time at night. So let me give you an idea. See what you think about this. So now I'm 100%. I don't do 99% stuff. I'm 100% into bodybuilding, building my body. So I want you to imagine now I'm going to the gym, and after 15 reps of doing whatever exercise I do, the muscles start to get really tired and fatigued. And I know that it's after those that it's going to count. It's where people would quit. It's where everybody would stop. It's where I need to keep going. If I want to create a certain growth, I have to create a certain tension in my muscle, and I got to ask it to do more than what it's used to. Then If I feed it right and I keep doing that, then the muscle has to, what? Evolve into what job it needs to do, which is to become bigger because it needs to be stronger. Okay, now, here's what's interesting. This is like fascinating to me. In order to get to the 15th rep, I have to go through, in quotes, 13, 12 useless reps, which I barely even feel. But without those 12 or 13, I'll never hit the fatigue on 15 or 16. So no matter what, I have to go through these reps until my muscles get tired. Then the real work happens. So whatever it was that you did, although it may not seem like anything, those are repetitions that you're doing that get you to the point where the growth happens. And there's going to be no growth for somebody who doesn't approach the way you approach. Right? You're growing because you said it's part of your activity. Now you approach, and great. So some days you get better results, meaning what? You'll fucking get phone numbers or make outs or sex. Some days you won't. However, all of them fall into the repetitions you do to strengthen your game, strengthen your frame, strengthen your social dynamics, everything else. So there is really, in weightlifting, there is no useless reps. And in social dynamics, seduction, and pickup, there are no useless sets, because that's what it takes to get to the next level of it. Regardless of what shows up, once you see it as another repetition that you have to do in your day to strengthen your mental muscle and spiritual muscle and your social muscle, then you're good. You didn't waste nothing. Good for you that you went to the gym and did your rest. That's what I got to say about that.
Wow, that's brilliant, Arash. And speaking of NLP, and I want to go beyond NLP, but one way to sort things, you ask a girl a question, and if you want to do a cool little cold read with a girl, for example, she goes, "Where are you from?" And you go, "Well, let's see how well traveled you are. Can you tell?" Some girls are going to want to come up with the perfect answer. So a way to process a question would be, I need the perfect answer. So they're going to be, I don't know, and so on. Some girls are going to use deduction, okay, because maybe you told them your name, and your name, let's say, sounds a little Italian, so they're going to go Italy. Or maybe they saw that you were wearing a shirt that had some South American soccer team on it, and they go South America. So deduction is another way to process information. Then you also have girls, and those are my favorite. If you want to test candidates for same-night sex, they just don't give a fuck. They just throw it out there. They would go like, I don't know, Canada, Australia, France, Portugal. They just throw it out there. And you can cold read that. But I'm saying this to lead to the point of another one is a process of elimination, where you first go through what it isn't to lead to what is there. The same way when you're searching for something, you go, okay, no, that's not it. You're looking for paper. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. There it is. So girls may say, you're not Asian. You're not from here or there. So why not frame what you're experiencing at first, instead of thinking of it as final and fatal, as the beginning of the process? And every girl that doesn't respond, every time you don't talk, you are eliminating those options, which is exactly what Arash was saying. And I love how you said it so brilliantly. So think of it as a process of elimination, which leads us to the next key point. And thank you again, Chris. And guys, if you want to be on the call with us, you just message us and we'll make sure you can ask your question. And Chris will speak with you again in just a moment. So the next thing that's important to know is that first, it is absolutely normal. In all my years of teaching, I've noticed that one of the biggest block you can create is by thinking that what you're dealing with is only you, so you take it personally, and it's not normal. And I see groups, anybody who processes it that it's not normal, my problem is, they struggle. And those who go up, that's probably the way it is at first. The willingness to not be comfortable right away, while remembering that it's going to pass, combined with breaking it down into small steps. Now, personally, my current way to handle not feeling super comfortable, I put myself in Hollywood situations where I may be around celebrities and I'm not always comfortable right away, or I demand from myself to still do pickup even though I'm half asleep and I cannot even have a conversation with myself. What I do then, I make sure that I stay focused on taking steps and not getting caught in the story. Indian gurus practice something known as the labor of love. And the labor of love is taking any task, no matter how basic or complex it may be, pleasant or not, and to do it without buying into the story. Because think about it. To go and approach a girl, and I personally don't like the frame of approaching because they either pass through my reality or I invite them in my reality, or I take my reality to them. Because approaching makes them like they're the center of focus and they're just a person on my path, and I want to find out if they're ready to have a part in the phenomenal movie that my life is. Now, that's pretty cocky. So you got to combine being cocky with being genuine. It doesn't mean that because I do that I'm like a machine that doesn't feel anything. So, but what I feel, I remind myself, what does it take? First, it probably takes walking or at least moving your body a little bit. Is that something very complicated? No. The moment you know how to walk, you've done it millions of times already. And then it takes talking. And during the course of one day, we all say at least thousands of words, even if you're by yourself. Those words, you say them to yourself in your own head. So that in itself is very easy. And then it takes connecting. And even if you're not that social, you still connect with people. You still interact with people. So it's the stories. It's the moment. We go too far in the future, thinking about what could happen. We compare to how we think it should be done. We start to process things personally. A girl is really not that social. She's pretty sexually retarded. She's fucking stuck up, and the guy takes it personally. Doesn't realize that this girl, that's just the best she could do at the time. You know, or even if you don't do it so well, you want the kind of people that wouldn't hold that little against you. Or maybe the girl has just been bombarded by morons who have no game, and instead of taking it personally, you remind yourself, it is just a story, and you think about a step you could take. But here's the trick. The moment you take a step, a story is going to kick in again. What helps me is to disassociate from that by reminding myself, it's just my mind fucking with me. And I have it all the time. I start walking down the street, and then suddenly I think, maybe that girl lives in my building. I think I saw her with that guy. I don't want them to report to the building that I'm hitting on everybody. And I go, hold it there. Thank you. Nice attempt to prevent me from getting laid, my mind. I know you're a little concerned, but you can be completely reassured. I already spoke to her. I'm a little tired. Anyway, I'm fucking that other one tonight, so I wouldn't have the place to bring her over tonight. All those stories come up, but it helps you guys when you understand they're just fucking stories, and you take a breath and you assess simply what little step can I take. Doesn't mean you're going to feel completely free from any process that's not so pleasant, but then you remind yourself, and we'll talk about that more when we're back on tapping into your true masculinity and alpha power, to also not be a drama queen or so overly feminized that you let the slightest little discomfort stop you. And we'll talk about, in my own opinion, the entire pickup community has it backwards. We don't want to get rid of anxiety. We want to embrace our ability to act despite anxiety. True alpha nature. So here's a quick message, everybody, and we'll be back in just a moment with Arash, who's going to further help you to make sure that even though you may not be comfortable, you tap into more of your own masculinity and alpha power.
This summer, treat yourself with the dream hot babe-packed vacation and education of a lifetime. One entire week, ultimate, hardcore, badass, round-the-clock training and pickup with the world's top gurus. Announcing the 2016 7th Annual Pickup Academy Total Manhood Makeover, July 11th to 17th, 2016, in Venice Beach and Hollywood, California, with Vince, Kelvin, Arash, Dibazar, and such guest speakers as Hypnotica, Aikido, Adam Lyons, and many more surprises. Party bus, makeovers, dance classes. Go to www.seductioncoaching.com to reserve your spot. Hurry, sliding scale. Catch the best deal now.
We're back, and you can rest assured that from this moment on, as we continue, you're going to find much more ease and flow. And to actually thank you for listening, guys, I want to, since this is the first of a brand new series of podcasts with Arash Dibazar and myself that you'll find on iTunes, Podomatic, and so many other places, and you'll be able to subscribe to them, and we'll have guests and so on. Because we're making history, I started the older version of this in 2004. That's 12 fucking years ago. And after 12 years, as I joined forces with Arash Dibazar, we decided that we were going to upgrade and boost it and defy the odds and make it even better. So since this is the first episode, we're going to make a little announcement after that. Anyone that will email me, I will send you a free recording, a trance, to help you. You're going to listen to it at night to feel more free when you're being social and when you interact with women. You'll send your request to vince@seductioncoaching.com, vince@seductioncoaching.com, and within 24 hours, you'll have your free recording. It's full value, zero obligation. We're happy to give, and we want to truly make a difference. So, Arash, my question, you saw happening, you are a man like no other, you take action, you do in 1 week more than most people would do in one life. You have more women than any man out there. And at the same time, you are breathing truth. You also admit that sometimes you are also not comfortable. So what allows you to take action and regardless?
It's a great question. Since I've started a new field, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a student, Vince, I can't say enough about this. I try not to talk too much about it because it's like the guy who doesn't know how to skateboard and he just bought a new skateboard and he's learning how to ride it and he just wants to talk about it the whole time. So I'm real aware of that. But that's all I want to do is talk about my realizations because I take to a new field a body, because it's a body field, I take to the new field a body that is just completely absurd in that field. But I take to it a mentality that can match the world champions of that field, and I believe surpass them. Now, I know that's a big claim, but hey, we're not talking about bodybuilding, we're talking about mindset, and that is my field. So I see the effects that it creates in other people and in the world in such a short time, and it inspires me. I'm inspiring myself watching other people react. To answer your question, it's related. To answer your question, what keeps me going like that? I would have to say, honestly, if I really looked at it, and this might come as a surprise, but yeah, because let me first say it, and then everybody watch what I'm saying here. What pushes me is fear. Fear of being not good enough drives me to be the best. Now, that's kind of a weird statement. However, the facts are the facts, right? I'm 100% honest. I haven't lied since I was like 20 years old or something. I see no reason to lie. So if I really look at it, I have a fear of being in business in the businesses that I'm in and being number 2. I want to be number 1 because I think being number 2, number 3, number 4, I think not being known scares me. I don't know why. So some people could say, Arash, I didn't know you were that insecure. Good. I want you to hold on to that fucking thought for just a second. I'm going to revisit it. Arash, I thought you were fearless. Good. Hold on to that thought, everybody. Okay? I thought you don't want to impress anybody. Keep holding on to that shit, too. Because the reality is, I work as hard as I work because I'm afraid that I may not be good enough. Now, wow. Did he really say that? Yes. So now let me get to my point. You see, I believe that the fear that I just said runs deep into every human being. And if somebody out there exists who doesn't have that fear, congratulations. I would advise you to stop listening to this podcast right now. Okay? If you truly are the Buddha or Lao Tzu or any of those people. And remember, the Buddha went under the tree because he saw that there was death and he wanted to overcome death and disease and all that. So he even stepped into that field. For myself, as I look around, my parents didn't figure it out. My friends didn't figure it out. Nobody gave me the solutions I wanted. They gave me pieces, but I had to put it all together. So I had to explore different areas, and I'm putting it together, the solution to my life, to my problems, thus then sharing it with others. And the point that I want to make is simple. All of my fears, insecurities, doubts, anything that would break somebody else and make them weaker pushes me every day to be the best at what I do, and I will not stop until I die, because anything to me, anything, any amount of pain I go through, all of that is better than being afraid of not being good enough. So I'm driven by my curses, by my demons, which I don't think are particular to me. I think everybody has them. I just take them and I channel them in a way that brings about this positive results in my life. I could deal with those things many different ways. What I said to my friend, I think it was, it was one of these podcasts or something. You know, when my ex-girlfriend and I broke up in January, and I had a lot of pain during that time, tons of pain. And I said clearly that when people see my physique in the future, right, I want them to see something. I want them to see how the pain that I felt translated into my body. And that's what drives me right now on that. I have something to prove, you see? And I think you should be very, very aware and afraid of the man who has something to prove, because he'll prove it. So I have a mission. I have a mission to prove something. And everything I have, I had a mission to prove it. Even becoming a multi-millionaire is that. I have something to prove to everybody who thought and said that being tattooed like this, not going to college, teaching things that they thought were just absurd, like pickup to them, right? I will be a multi-millionaire and make others into millionaires because I have something to prove. And I don't want to be made fun of. I don't want to be made less. I don't want to be afraid, and I don't want to be insecure. And my solution has been, as I continuously work on myself into deeper levels of truth, to make sure that every moment of my life is spent, instead of being down on myself and shrinking into a hole because I don't want to be afraid, to channel that into something so great that it will inspire everybody else to get out of their fucking bullshit too. That's what drives me, brother. It's fear, it's upset, it's down, it's all the negative shit in the world drives me to be the positive person I am today.
So there you have it, gentlemen. It's simple. Instead of letting the fear block you, you let the fear serve you. And that creates tremendous drive. Let's give you some assignments, guys. And a quick summary. I go as fast as I can because I'm looking at the time and we are nearing the end. So you got to be a serious student. Because honestly, if you want the fastest way to know how you can act despite anxiety. Think about this for a moment. Let's say today, we convince the government to make a deal with someone who's on death row and to promise to give them a pardon and to give them their freedom back, to release them, assuming that within the next 24 hours, they talk to a sufficient amount of women that they end up betting a woman. So the guy is facing death row, and suddenly they open his cell and they go, change the plan, but there's a condition to it. You have 24 hours, and if not, we'll kill you on the spot. We're going to follow you. Now, do you think the person would still go, yeah, but my problem is, or you don't understand, or sometimes I try to talk to girls and then I don't know what to say. So you got to put things back into context, and if you spend too much time dwelling on one thing, you omit other things. So the fastest way to reduce darkness, according to Martin Luther King, was to turn on the light. So gentlemen, let's turn on the light and let's practice taking action. Right now, don't be passive. Just grab a pen, a piece of paper, a journal, and make the following quick notes. First, you need an above average awareness of what's really going on. For example, I gave you what I use myself. I go, it's my mind trying to fuck with me. Or another thing that you could realize is, hey, it's normal, and if I work through it a little bit, it's going to pass, and I have to go through it to get to the next level. So here's your assignment. Think about what would be an above average way to think about those feelings that's a little bit better than what you used to tell yourself, and really do the assignment. B, this is going to be as simple as ABC. So that was A, above average awareness. B, break it down into small steps, so even though you're not totally comfortable, you can still pass by. You can still stand a little bit better and smile. You can still walk around the nightclub and get curious about the venue. C is to put it into context. I tell you honestly, one thing that helps me a lot, if I wake up one morning and I think about that day only and the things I got to do, then I easily get caught up into an average mentality. 2 girls pass by, I'm probably going to let them pass by. But if I wake up in the morning and I start to think about the fact that it's my life, and at some point it's going to be over, and there's the fact that we're all aging, and then I think, okay, and tonight's going to come. Do you want to be just by your fucking self, feeling miserable, or then it becomes a lot easier for me to act regardless of whatever I'm feeling, tired or whatever it might be. And then to also contrast it. This morning, I spent a little time with a gentleman who his back condition is so bad he cannot raise his head anymore. You know, you've seen like drawings of old witches with their head all the way down. And I thought, wow, how lucky I am that today I can walk normal, even though my back may not feel super comfortable. So you contrast. And D, you got to find your own drive. Arash shared with you guys his drive. I shared with you guys my drive. Find your own drive. When the drive is greater than the fear is going to dissipate. So don't only invest into getting rid, also invest into acquiring. Acquiring not only the mindset, the knowledge. There is more to come. So much. We all will see you very soon at the Global SLR. This is brought to you by globalslr.com. In the meantime, I want to thank Chris. And Chris, I know you've been studying with us for a while. So if you have any recommendation for the students who are just starting their journey with us. And also Arash, in conclusion, a few more words of wisdom. I pass it to Chris, and then we'll have Arash give a few words of conclusion. And we thank you guys already for having joined this call. So Chris.
Yeah, I would say that every day a little something. Do something every day that is your passion. If this is your passion, do a little something every day. Rather than like binging for a day or two and then taking a week or two off. That's not a good way to train or
and it takes patience too, because you've been going at it for quite some time, and you notice how it's paying off through dedication, because you've been more dedicated. I know you're coming to New York. You were in Vegas, so dedication is key. What allows you to be so dedicated to studying, to constantly checking everything that we offer?
Well, definitely, it wasn't like this before I met Arash, or before I met his teachings, and that it all ties in with like life. You know, so I'm a yoga teacher, and I have high aspirations for starting a global community and a studio with that. So all of the social dynamics, building that reputation and building that social awareness to have calibration and everything. It's just life. Life is game, and game is life. So that it is not something separate from the rest of my life. It gives me the motivation every day. It's not separate. It's part of it. Part of life.
Well, keep it up, Chris. And guys, if you want to be a guest on the call, also as a little reward because you're kicking ass as a student of Arash and I, contact us and demonstrate true dedication, and we'll have you on. Arash, it's always such a pleasure, and we're taking it to a next level. We'll be back next week with how to start to really connect and continue after that once you start your interaction. For now, in conclusion.
Yeah. I had a guy message me asking a question, and sometimes I answer, sometimes I don't. And I said to him, did you get the Oracle for Mind, which is my first product I recommend to people? And he's like, no, not yet. I said, okay, well, why don't you get that, watch it, and see if you still have the question. And he came back. He's like, oh, I understand business is business, but I thought you were for real. So I answered him, fuck off, asshole. If you're going to be rude, don't message me. And then he came back, and he said, no, I don't mean any disrespect. I understand, blah, blah, blah. And I'll get the product. And he's like, I do have this one question. And he shared his situation. And then I said, get the product, and that's what you need to do. And he's like, in all due respect, you know, I feel it's strange that you, meaning me, Arash, didn't have to pay your guru to learn, but you asked me to pay. I said to him, listen, asshole, my teacher, Manu, until the day he died on his deathbed, I paid him. Until the day he died, I paid him. My jiu-jitsu coach, I have not trained with him personally for about a year. Right now, if you go to his academy, I pay more than any other student in his academy. And I know this why, because I pay for regular membership, even though I haven't trained there, and I pay for 2 private lessons a week from him. He's a world champion. He's not cheap. And he's asked me over and over and over, hey, bro, you don't need to do this. And I said to him, if I pay you $10,000 a month for the rest of my life, I still can't pay you back for what you've given me. So please accept this small gift for now while I make more money and I can pay you more. And he's tried, and he knows now, because it's been years that I've been paying that. He knows that I'm not going to take it, and the price will go up because I can afford more. And there's a reason for this. I've seen it happen in my life with my ex-girlfriends. See, my girlfriends are my number one students. Out of everybody in the entire world, I teach them the most. And while they're with me, they are incredibly powerful. Right now, my women can handle anything, and I know it. The moment we break up, about a month and a half, I've now clocked it, they start breaking so fast that not only are they not as good as they were, they're worse off than I first met them. And there's something to this universal law, and I know what it is, and I'm going to bring it up right now. You cannot take more than you give in this universe. It's going to balance itself out, okay? When I listen to this part of the podcast, just today, you know, I know this is part of a bigger one, and I listen to the information, I ask myself, how many people listening are actually in the position to have exchanged with the information they just received? I'm telling you this not because you think that now you're going to go buy something from me and now I'm going to buy a brand new pair of shoes, because whether you do or not, it doesn't affect me because we have very big numbers. It's not 10, 20, 30, 100 people. You understand? You know this already. You should know this. It's not like, you know what it's like? It's like if you went to Apple computers and you were like, I'm never buying an Apple again, and I'm telling all my friends. They're like, I don't give a shit. You won't have a good computer. How's that? You go somewhere else. That's where it's at. It's not our first year in business here, okay? We've been doing it. We're going to keep doing it. There's been enough people. One of the funniest things is sometimes I kick people out of my academy, and the girl's like, well, that was rude. Believe me, I'm not coming here and I'm going to tell everybody. I'm like, go ahead, bitch. I've been in business for 18 fucking years, okay? And when I was a baby in business, you still couldn't shut me down, you fucking whore. And now look at me now. 18 years later, I don't need you. Okay? And that is the proper language, by the way, when I use it on people like that, because they're attacking me at that moment. And I don't think you should be nice to your attackers. So the question, and I think, because Vince gave you guys a homework, do this, take out a pen and do this. I have one for you. Immediately. This doesn't mean tomorrow. It means right after you hear this. Go to my website, go to Vince's website, and purchase one thing from both of us. Okay? That is your homework. If you do it, the next podcast you listen to, you will feel absolutely incredible. Guaranteed. Because you put your exchange in to some degree. If you don't, you'll have in mind that I gave you homework that you didn't do. So you'll approach the next podcast hoping I don't know you, hoping I don't find out. And that is the surest way to not be powerful. That is the surest way to not learn, and the surest way to get nowhere in life. So I love the way the universal laws work, because no one is going to have more power than they deserve in life. My suggestion to you is to do what I've always done.
This is so true. This is so true. I just got to pitch in because I had a phenomenal experience with this last week. I belong to an amazing spiritual program where it is encouraged for people to make money, but it is kind of a non-profit thing. And the person helping me, my teacher over there, said, okay, I will not talk to you anymore until you finish that assignment that you read in the book. And the book is free, but I had to get the book, read the assignment. So this is really to understand that it's about the law of exchange. You got to do your part, and you will receive much more abundantly. So, Arash, cannot wait for the next one. Chris, keep it up. Gentlemen, this is your chance to take it to the next level. We thank you for being with us. And that wraps us this episode on how to turn anxiety into action. So act now, immediately.
You've been listening to The Real Kings of Pickup with Vince Hollywood Kelvin and Arash motherfucking Dibazar. Brought to you by www.globalslr.com. Call live every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to get your questions answered. Just dial 701-801-1220. Then enter 129-779-160, followed by the pound key. To get your free pickup starters kit, go to www.seductioncoaching.com now. And remember, stay sexy.